Ich weiß nicht, ob es mit Philipp klappt oder nicht.
Philipp? Recording in progress.
To the end.
Tajagala Jobo Judon, Batashi Dele, and the Bullsen Moche, the Mani, 주로 넘버 다시 딜레
Rinpoche kung kamzang trahi dele.
Tashidele Rinpoche Kukamsam.
So Rinpoche said Dashidele to all the Dharma friends, to Drupun Rinpoche, to both of the Drupuns, and Dashidele.
Son je chung dong son jin chung nam la chan chung bar dun dan ne jiao sun dan gen jing son jin bing con nam jing ro lan pen sir san zhong ba ra xiu san je chung dong son jin chung nam la chan chung bar dun dan ne jiao sun ji dan gen jing sun jin bing con nam jing ro lan pen sir san zhong ba ra xiu.
Until awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Manam Kandan Yambe Sem Jing Tam Jing Dewa Dang Dewen Jio Dang Dembara Jira Ji Dong En Dang Dong En Jin Jio Dang Rawara Jira Ji Dong En Men Ben Dewa Dang Men Rawara Jira Ji Nye ring cha dang nye dang tra ve da nyom la ne bara jira je ma nam ka da nyam sem jing tam jing de wa dang de ve jing dang dem bara jira je dong e je jing dang tra wa jira je dong e men ben de wa dang min ra wa ra jira je nye ring cha dang nye dang tra ve da nyom la ne ba ra jira je.
May all mother sentient beings, limitless as space, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Sa yin ben je sa yin ben don ra re ra len yin yin de jian ban de san je yin la men de par wa yin dong gong nam da yin jie wa ra yong go som yong zo la mi co nam la jie na sa som de yi jian ju da le lom ju na ze yong ye la la men chong nge de ren de
The ground is anointed with perfumed water, strewn with flowers, and adorned with a supreme mountain, 4 continents, sun and moon. Through perceiving it as a Buddha field and offering it, may all wayfarers enjoy the pure realms. With the realizations of suchness, I make outer, inner, and secret offerings to the assembly of gurus who have completely perfected the 3 kayas. I beseech you to accept the offerings of my body, wealth, and all that appears and exists, and bestow the unsurpassed Supreme Siddhi.
Om Garam Deva Da Gen Rana Mandala Bhadeva Sa Dan Che Jen Shang Ba Da Ye Se Ye Rang Ger Yen So Wa Ye Gewa Jung Zen Dan Gen Je Dzambhala Tham Dien Dzombe San Jo Sen Lo.
Whatever slight virtue I have accumulated through prostration, offering, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and requesting, I dedicate it all for the sake of complete enlightenment.
Sem Dien Nam Je Zambanda Lo Ye Se Ra Dien Da War Che Chong Te Mong Te Ba Ye Che Jian Ho Long Gon De So.
In exactly the ways that suit the views and particular reasoning capacity of sentient ones, please turn the Dharma wheel of the great, small, and common vehicles.
Sadhana 망고 센티 상태 레좀들 하와미 봐 통서 봐 돈당은 거는 이제 와미 봐 통고 니니 성적되는 갔다요 말이지 오 고만 통고는 거기도 통고요리 네 값로를 끼거든요 진짜 뒤숭고 성만이 그득 가르치는 제가 다다랑 민영고요 그래서 미리는 지금 가는 무슨 민거를 배나 야 도구 프린세스 보여요나 얘네 유머번 시간이 길 라상스님은 제가 동행인 줄로 그래 제가 스스럼대와 짜치세파시도 그래서 그저 삼버세브라래지 그저 삼버세브라래지 네 대사월 하고니 남심이 좋아하면 진짜로하면 좀 이게 디사지 대사월 심들 좋아하면 나갔다 어차는 생각 나고 체면을 또 새로운 되죠 말람님 발치면 진짜 말람된 가서 제가 뻗어면 말이지 오 남지들이 조금이 이사는 이거는 남지들이 내가 제가 나중에 내가 제는 내도가 초반 좀 하나서 무슨 용거요래 대 용나 다티 용 대체수용 처발해서 저는 들 처발을 나서 그래도 저도 바랍다 왜지 저도 바랍 치뭐 요나 바랍 잠시나 비서 대다고 또 다치는 초트한테 망다라서 이제도 니모나 살도가 나도랑 살도나 코가 빵 먹어서 거기는 지는 병에서 남도랑 살도는 코가 빵 먹어서 대다고 나도랑 살도를 다 채는 초트를 락초를 내려 초트를 성지 이 초트들 심마사들이 이제 초를 틈려고요 그래 지시 담으여서 약간 애들이 상계로 그래 다 대다고 성화는 다 나다 다 가려 맞은다 가려리 다 다른 데는 나도 대독 란들은 좀 맞대서요 대치를 란들고 지디 랑게디 이몽을 내놓고 이제 생 초들들 내중도 쌓여온 거래 다다 독신이서는 남독을 내 마사바를 좋다 봐야지 샤바사데 샤도르지 샤도르스는데 내 마사바 내 소롱데 뒤에서 남도 찌찌님 뒤에서는 내에서 쏘는 거 뒤로 봐 내줘도 막차래 대다 뒤 야만 다다 초 됐다 맞아 됐다 랑가 땅 거래 따 거래 뒤지 됐은 거도 다다지도 통치 잡아도 제대 이런 통치 잡아는 용서 랑가랑 딱 하고 랑가랑 도사다 랑가 첼레도 랑가랑 제세들 남도 돌마도 철랑게 책뭐 뭐용을 뒤들 야나 다다랑 게 셈로 따가 요새 냠니 제가 요새 얘는 참상가 유모 레롱게 제서 소도도 제가 레사도 선은 그냥 참다니 뭐 도도도 땅하고 시에도 선은 다들 돌마도 이 상탐들이더니 다들 같은 초 맞았나지 제들 시가때 세인들이 초점 맞았나지 다른 사람들이 오가 다른 된 토마토 다른 된 마토나 고버 창이 돼서 제대로 강인 적도 없어야 대다를 초점을 다들 다른 종지는 다른 있지 저만 매봐 내가 고문 창지를 다 남이 제밖에 남이 남쪽 가서 참선을 또 참선을 맞아 대다를 맞아 가지고 동해져서 대하고 하자 그치 뭐 그랬지
So Dharma friends, we continue the text from yesterday. And so we have said yesterday may attain the state of Vajradhara in this lifetime. And so what leads to the attainment of this state is the method of the secret mantra swift path. And so then it continues, should I not attain supreme accomplishment in this life? So should I not attain the supreme siddhi in this life? So actually regarding the supreme accomplishment or the siddhi, there are signs appearing on the outer, inner, and the secret levels. On the outer level, you manifest activities of body, speech, and mind that refrain from harming others completely and that accomplish the benefit of others entirely. For example, there are some spiritual masters in this world who engage in vast enlightened activities. But it's not about someone maybe pointing at you and saying that you are a realized person, you have accomplishments. It's about whether or not you have developed an immeasurable, a vast, altruistic mind. So on the outer level, one has accomplished the individual liberation, on the inner level, the Bodhisattva path, and on the secret level, the secret mantra Vajrayana path. And regarding the inner signs that will manifest, such a person who has developed supreme accomplishments will be able to clearly discern between the karmic winds and the wisdom winds. So the karmic winds operate when one becomes controlled by ordinary afflictive emotions and thoughts. And then the wisdom winds, they are actualized when you actualize the ultimate view. And that is when awareness seizes or kind of recognizes whatever thought and afflictive emotion arises. And through such recognition, through mindfulness, the 5 afflictive emotions can mature into primordial wisdom, and one then attains supreme accomplishment or the supreme siddhi. Lord Jigten Sumgön had said, so regarding the supreme accomplishment, I am a yogin who has realized this life, the future lives, and the Bardom to be one. Therefore, at the time of death, there is no need for fear. So at the time of death, one recognizes that the mind never changes. The mind always remains the same. It is said that the times don't change, but the perception changes. And the mind transcends birth and death. So when one understands the meaning of this, one understands how this life, future lives, and the bardo are the same. Also, Milarepa had said, when you realize that there is no difference between mind and space, you have actualized meditation. So when you recognize that mind is just like space, you recognize that mind transcends birth and death. And also Milarepa said, when you realize that there is no difference between the dreams and the daytime perceptions, and you have attained realization. That's the highest realization. So first you realize that mind is just like space, unchanging, without arising and without decline. And then sentient beings, although they dwell within samsara, they can understand the infallibility of karma, cause and effect. And they can see the ultimate truth, which is the union of the two truths. So there is no contradiction between the two truths. So one who has seen that, even though they still see that there is suffering in samsara, they also recognize that this suffering is only due to a temporary condition. Lord Jigten Sumgön also said that whatever virtue or non-virtue one creates, the results will manifest, ripen right now. And so we can actually see that manifesting in this world, for example. For example, if there are two friends who are generally harmonious, and one day they get angry at each other, and immediately they become unharmonious, unfriendly, and start fighting with each other. So it is said that the happiness of the higher realms is as fleeting as a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass. And also it is said that it is all about the moment of thought, so what you're thinking in that moment. So if you understand all of this, you know that the mind is like space and is unchanging. So when you realize that there's no difference between mind and space, you have actualized meditation. Or when there is no difference between daytime perceptions and dream perceptions, you have accomplished a realization. So there is no difference between the daytime and the dream state whatsoever. When you're dreaming, your body lies in your bed sleeping, but your consciousness continues to engage in activities. And during the dream, you experience actual feelings of happiness and suffering. But if one recognizes that all of these perceptions are confusions, then they will naturally dissolve just like a wave subsiding back into the ocean. Even if the wave is a large wave, if you know that it is nothing but the magical display of the ocean itself, it will subside on its own. And so that is from the perspective of one who has gained supreme accomplishments. Longchen Rabjam also had said, when the thoughts and afflictions settle in their natural place, there is no need to abandon samsara. So when that is accomplished, one can say that one has attained in this life the supreme accomplishments. And then at the moment of death, one will instantly recognize the luminosity of the Dharmakaya and attain enlightenment. So then, also regarding the inner signs, and also why is it that we do not accomplish them, these supreme accomplishments, it is because although we practice, we still have some grasping at our various thoughts of happiness and suffering. And so we still follow the karmic winds of our afflictive emotions and therefore create karma. In Dzogchen, it also speaks on that there's a term called liberation upon arising. So even though thoughts do arise, if they are liberated upon arising, then you will not accumulate karma. And so the point is not to accumulate karma. Otherwise, if we allow these thoughts to remain in the mind, then one thought leads to another, and we already have accumulated karma. And if we accumulate karma, we are forming habitual tendencies. We are placing imprints in the mind. And so whether or not we aim for this supreme accomplishment is our own choice, and whether or not we have accomplished it, we see for ourselves. Also, Jigten Somgön had said to see, to understand the accomplishment of one's own mind, you have to look for yourself, see for yourself, look at your own mind, whether or not am I able to liberate thoughts and afflictive emotions or not. Now when we look at our own mind, we may find that sometimes I am practicing and I am looking at my mind. So we think that we are practitioners, and yet sometimes I do become afflicted and I do become controlled by the karmic winds. And that is when I accumulate karma. And sometimes I'm able to liberate the afflictive emotions. I'm able to calm down those thoughts. So whether we are liberated or not, we have to see for ourselves, or whether or not we have attained supreme accomplishments. So it says here, should I not attain supreme accomplishments in this life? So I still may not have attained real confidence or conviction in the view. And so not having attained this confidence in the view, we will still encounter some difficulties when it comes to the perilous path of meditation. So we speak about the fortress of the view. When you attain the fortress of the view, then your trust in the view is unchanging. And then there is the perilous path of meditation. So in our practice, sometimes we are able to liberate our thoughts, and sometimes we are not. And when we are not able to liberate our thoughts, we will experience suffering. So it's extremely important to understand this.
세미테 미바타는 다진이메바 하 고나요 뇨와다 때문에 다진이니 요요래 다진이니 요를 때려 인핑을로 제다베다 그좀 상속시 제다 뭐 제다 타베를 들리다 주거를 롱거지 상감도 롱거리 롱거 리방 아진이송 상감들 내가 되니까 요미 같이 갖다 대소묘에 참미는 뭐지 대문대라도 나한테 너무 염려를 대해 대문대 자체 되나와 삼천이 형이 요래 대담이 이제 거기 동나고 내봐지 니바다 민오 대나무는 짝짝이 말했어 내가 시간한테서 인도면하고 대담이랑 은혜지 마도 버감이 되다고 이제 사용 요래 대은혜 말에 대자당에 주거에는 초거를 놓고 성질이 각각 말이 주거 많이 놓고 사용을 해. 동바 주거를 함지 싸우는 거나 카단자 송저 주거 남과다 놓고 자 송저도 그래서 소소만 자통을 소소 가도 많이 봐. 어떤 통야 요는 이제 되거나 이 강이 신중앙아들 함지게 샘 남과다 보나 남과 샘들은 유모왕아 요래 대라 유모왕아지 실은데서 이 시간은 미는 거에 대선이들 신중앙아들 남지들이 새 차바다는 조실라서 인좀 먹감이 통치서도 자통 가도나 연구요래 대라 남지기 연구에 로컬 미방아지 인성 내가 보면 주기 연구 받더니 소유는 신강 또방이 봐 여기 봐 딱과 뒤져 콜로지 또방이 봤더니 다 도디상 거기 봤더니 삽지산 속선바 저기 봤더 같이 못 맞겠어 거기 봐가지고 해볼까비 그냥 탐태비디 롱거이들이 롱거기 방가지 시간이들이 사람을 때남 싸우는 셈그랑 올라더니 죽어난 갔다가 또는 혼자 손에도 나왔는데 로요 말이 때렸더니 이때따위 사람을 때 용띠 때도 고독산족선 도담산족선 예 따봤다더니 이때도 용띠 연구요에 때는 내가 제가 요미 야서 봤다기만 못한 거니 대 말에 사지 가송선더니 너희 방법을 송선 내가 제가 계속 제고 말에 빼나 내가 제가 요미시고 말이 야다 게데 강적대 다 따라는 통치도 정지돼서 뭐 소말이 잠불ren데나 수고 가시나 레를 띠앙마 드바게 되고 딱 가서 수고 차요 그랬지 오늘 뒤에 갑자기 보상 보모 탐지를 빼더니 나는 대들 아직은 안 그런 좀 강해 매봐 르는 나타매봐 세로 동해 매봐 오늘 잡는 tuk시 잡나야 고추 레스는 동해 매봐 대들이 마음보요래 대가리 다지 산쪽세부 되버리지 개버리지 산쪽세부 되지 산쪽세부다 산쪽세들이 고추 산쪽 세비밖에 나기 인상으로 때 삼바세미바 인제 세미바 나세미바 안용 세미바 재미예서 우리 대라들이다 내가 또 돈이 내가 담게 이 대리지랑 우리 사람을 요래 다들 산지 고방탄을 로그만 가지는 내가 로그에 쪼거들이 쪼거 남갔다 오면 로그 자송다 쪼거 차봤다 로그 집었다 야 로그 집었다 쪼거 차봤다 대다를 들이다지 그것은 레리랑 이 장성 제대로 무슨 말이야 대다를 그것은 레리라면 죽어요나 얘를 남지 뭐 동화도 죽어요 라민 사회에 기대로 그래 뒤랑이 돈이 인지라는데 대체 감치 잡대요 봐대 돈이 인지 몇밤에 인지 대차에 다들 것은 죽어라는 상도 하지 로가 대하지 로가 이제 뭐 라민 동바 라민 사회에 시지 다 거다는 감 다마다니 그냥 참 거래 대단 로가 얘를 독지지 얘를 뛰어가 준 제파던 처리 대주도 로고 제파처리 유체지요 말이 야 것은 로고를 것은 상도요래 야 저거는 다들랑 계시니들 무슨 저거래 매일 요래 하라사고 요래 세는 유문 봐 요래 대도도 맞춰 미다 매나 지는 거래 야와다 탐실에 대단지들은 로아로도 소실 쪽들을 거기서 패고 요야 돼. 얘나한테 죽고 탐실에 나가네. 샘적하고 죽으래시. 뭐 어떤 거 죽을 거지. 샘 대식도 뭐 죽으래시. 대식이 뭐들 사마든 이제 대롱 거래시. 내가 롱 거다. 그만 담아다가 들이 탑 담아다 나서 들이 나서 들어가. 죽을래더니 끼와 들어가. 저 들어가. 다들 나서 들어가서 죽을 막고 싶어. 놀래 되게 세비 탐실라. 피마다 내와들 데베지 저람이 죽고 요래. 저거 요래. 람지 돈이 년들어서 대로나 다들 가면 14세 상제 사와체도 상제가 가서 가리들이 시합을 차서 년에 상제가 사와체가 요래시. 같이 다 누가 가도 상제래시. 다 사건이 왔다고도 저건이 왔다고도 대로가 좋아요 뭐도 레지 대라는 민사마체 민토로는 라그때 마토로토 토토라서 내가 로버는 제스 때 민은 안 동에 미우나 doctor 샘 디스트릭 니보 티야 초라로야 알면 로버 토마테서 사제 의시 샘티 남는 사제니 오장 로버 때문에 토마테서 사제 의서 답지 좋은 도지 정도 또 너를 줄 때 송을 하지 어디 토마토 타고 쓰다 다 토마토 다 걸어 가리 다 걸어 다 하장이 님뭐 토마토 다 민성스미 토마토 다 걸어 그래 도로니 뭐 잘라지 뭐 님바나 다 되는 저거도 어디 강에 요래 커서 민성스미 등에 요래 얘는 디스트릭 모델이 계시면 다톡대 다 내는데 토마토에서 산지 이거 산지 디스트릭 뭐야 초라도요 말 그 거성을 이 장성 이제 보고서 데이터가 될 때는 다 대화기 시간 요미 라서 처tom지고 말해 라는 또고 책가라는 뒤쪽들이 답을 남서 쏜 거래 이제 감전한들이 다 대화기 빼야 요래 뭐 가시는 이제 뭐 열었잖아 동인다만 하도 지체매만 용요래 제가 동안 딱 제가 나시던 게 지체매만 용요래 레들이 내가 대회는 들이다 대화다 대회 좋다 된발 쳐져야 강에 다속심을 동이 쪽 강에 다디니 자체를 다디니 이 몸을 내사 지대가 되었다 동에 미 양대 파 다래 되게 양대 다 쳐와지 저서와든지 사월도 대상마서 양자자들 배주 동거에 무슨 체력을 시합을 뛰네 초쪽과서 싸움마서 총문이들 쪽과 차야요 말이지 샘대식 부분이들 쪽과 차야요 말이지 대회는 라는 또고 체라 뛰니들이라는 게 사직 것은 저한테 죽으려고 조금씩 하는데 배는 근데 이제 뭐를 조금씩 하래 옛날에 동네나 만나서 가거든요 어쨌든 따라가 레게 계속 가는 다다 통수를 쏘는 정도인데 레게데 김정 모습도 몇 개 통수 저 통토다 예를 삶은 통도 다 있지 레게를 있지 그래 대다 그래야지 대회를 뛰는데 다 좋나 강해 저간 대화질 태동 제고 말이지 대화질이 다 소소하게 되니 직디스 뭐 아빠를 정치 라는 직디스 뭐 정가지고 대화질 시작하면서 대 말이지 라는 라바 세 대바 치나 라바 대 세속 되면 난 톡도 죽어야 돼 라마들 꼭 견딘 송담지 톡상제 톡 죽어들들이 가가면 사자로만 게로고 뉴마요만 강에 라는 대박에 체들라고 디바 강이나 뒤주변 남자는 통은 이제 좋은 가지고 이제 뒤서 공통을 요래 사자는 라는 게벨라마 라는 뜻이 따라면 대통을 라는 뜻이 따라면 대에 말라 남바 산지야 봐면서 봐면 대다 들이 대기다서 라는 나온 도시면 라마들 톡들은 줄 알면 축가들이 소리다가 나진이면 들이대던 저야 요말 때에들이 다보신 가서 다보 들럭 들이대라는 깨서라는 사람을 많이지 로살 고바작사 때는 깨사요베 내가 지시만 대통령 말이지 다대에서 다 나진이지 요바 다 다른 유무도 차와 같은데 들이대다 다시 감탄을 무슨 로살 대단히 사제 속에 몰아잖아 Tini, Shen Kam, Tini, Yangja Sangye, Songwa. Oh, Tini, that Sangye, Tini, Seba Bipana, Tini, Toman, Dia Tin Shen Kam, Son, Yami, Tini, Yami, Yangja Sangye, Songwa, Songdo, the very data, that Dia Tin Shen Kam, and Tony, Taran, the later Hama Jam. Tini Sangye, Combaton, Tini Septi Sangye, Cosum, drop. This is about me, but don't put the Toman that you are so awesome. Don't the come to your church, tell it, yes, sir, tell it, yes, sir, talk like a salam man, now it's your word. You come to your rag now, I read it. Now I read rag now, rag talk at it all or the days of the tea, talk salam with chair, the Itachi mountain, the theatre, rag now and chucky your head.
So should I not attain supreme accomplishment in this life, may I be born among the foremost disciples of Jigten Sumgön Boundless Light in the Western Lotus land called Bliss Endowed. So this is speaking about the Pure Land of Devachan. So if one does not attain, should I not attain supreme accomplishment in this life? Now, should I still perceive a duality of self and other? So even though, as practitioners, we do understand that self and others are non-dual, are not separate, and we still actually, in our experience, we still experience the existence of self and others. And so for as long as we still do experience a duality of self and other, although we have an understanding that they don't exist, we still need to practice altruism. Or we say we seal our practice with the relative bodhicitta, which is the altruistic mind. And regarding the three kayas, and regarding the understanding of the Pure Land, what the Pure Land is. So from the Dharma Kaya arises the Sambhoga Kaya, and all the Pure Lands are Sambhoga Kaya Pure Lands. And Sambhoga Kaya Pure Lands possess 5 certainties. And these should clear away some doubts that we may have regarding the existence of Devachan. So some people have some doubts whether or not it exists. And so there's this prayer by Chagme Rinpoche, the aspiration prayer of Devachan. And some people don't even want to listen to it or recite it, and they think this is all not true. And there's nothing like that. And so that is because they have not seen the ultimate truth. So they are unrealized, and because they have a dualistic perception, they just think, oh, this is all not real. So how we should understand it is from the Dharmakaya arises the Sambhogakaya, but actually, so the Dharmakaya and the Sambhogakaya are not separate, they are a union. The Sambhogakaya manifests from within the Dharmakaya. The essence of mind is empty, and that is the Dharmakaya. And then there is a natural clarity that is called the Sambhogakaya. The Dharmakaya is like space, like the sky, the empty sky, and the Sambhogakaya is like a rainbow appearing in the sky. A rainbow of 5 colors that we can see all the time in our skies. And that is actually a reflection of the subtle 5 elements. So when we apply this to the mind, within the mind we possess the 5 afflictive emotions. And when they are met with primordial wisdom, then they mature into primordial wisdom, those 5 afflictive emotions. And so these 5 are related to the 5 elements on the outer level. And the 5 elements, through the interplay of heat and moisture, we perceive a rainbow in 5 different colors. It just happens naturally. And so that is related to the 5 certainties of a Sambhogakaya. So first there is the certainty of the place. that is the Akanishta Pure Land, after that the ultimate sphere, or the Dharma Dhatu. Then there is the certainty of the place, which is the Pure Lands of the 10 directions. So it's the Akanishta Pure Land and the Pure Land of the 10 directions. There's the certainty of time, that is the ongoing endless wheel of time. And then there's the certainty of the teacher, which is the Buddha Vajradhara. Then there is the certainty of the retinue, which are the 10 Bhumi Bodhisattvas. And then there is the certainty of the Dharma, which is the Mahayana only. And so this is how the Pure Lands of the Sambhogakaya Pure Lands endowed with 5 certainties manifest. And so secretly, the Pure Lands are the natural reflection of one's own mind. So when one realizes the space-like Dharmakaya nature of one's own mind, the Pure Lands will naturally manifest from that. So when one realizes the Dharmakaya appearances do not just disappear, there still are appearances, but they are perceived as the Pure Land. And so as a result of having developed the relative and the ultimate bodhicitta, all these qualities will naturally manifest. So people often question the existence of the Pure Land Devachen, but there is no need to question this existence. The Buddha had already told us about it, and there are many stories about the Pure Land of Devachen, so there is no need to have any doubts. So also Jigten Somgön had said, karma, cause and effect, or virtuous or non-virtuous actions, actually whatever we create, we can see its results right away, right now. For example, we can see it in this world. There are some people who are very wealthy, and that is the result of having practiced generosity in previous lives. There are some who live in places of freedom, and they do not have many difficulties. They do not experience much sickness in their bodies or suffering in their minds. For example, there are some who have lived even through the world wars and who have never still experienced any suffering of body and mind, and they're still alive. There's many people like that. And so why is that? It is because of virtuous actions ripening, is the result of their own actions. And a virtuous action essentially is a mind of bodhicitta, of love. So the relative bodhicitta consists of the 4 immeasurables: immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And so the relative bodhicitta arises when we still perceive a duality of self and other. And so as a result of having practiced virtue, temporarily, the natural projection of our mind will manifest as the happiness of the higher realms. And ultimately, as a result of bodhicitta, we will attain enlightenment and become those Sambhogakayas with the 5-fold certainty. So also, then from the Sambhogakaya arises the Nirmanakaya. We can say that Dharmakaya is like space, like the sky. The Sambhogakaya is like a rainbow or also a cloud in the sky. And then the Nirmanakaya is like the rain falling from the clouds. So Jigten Somgön had also said that within each of the 3 kayas, the other 2 are complete. So for example, when we look at the Dharmakaya is the empty essence of the mind. But then also, it's not just empty, there's also a quality of being naturally clear. And that's the Sambhogakaya within the Dharmakaya. And then this natural, empty, clear nature is an all-pervasive compassion, and an unconditional or unobjectified compassion. So in this way, the Nirmanakaya is also included within the Dharmakaya. Or if you look at the Sambhogakaya is the natural clear awareness. And naturally clear awareness is also empty in essence. And from this empty, clear essence then manifest the various pure forms and pure realms, pure and impure forms. And then through these manifestations, then the enlightened activities of compassion manifest continuously. And that is the quality of the Nirmanakaya within the Sambhogakaya. So this is how the three kayas are complete within the Sambhogakaya. And then also if we look at the Nirmanakaya, so a Nirmanakaya we often call a spiritual master appearing in the human world as a Nirmanakaya, like a Drikung. And a Nirmanakaya in the human world, like a spiritual master, also needs to eat food like everybody else. And they also might have an affliction. They experience happiness and suffering. They're just like human beings. And these Nirmanakayas appear anywhere in the 6 realms. For example, they also appear in the hell realms or as a hungry spirit. But their mind is the mind of Dharmakaya, which is in essence empty. And essentially, the Dharmakaya is Buddha nature. And so from that arises the clear Sambhogakaya, and out of this union of emptiness and clarity, since it is an all-pervasive space of compassion, from that arises then the Nirmanakaya. And there are many different kinds of Nirmanakayas applying various skillful means to benefit sentient beings. So for example, there are Nirmanakayas called the manifold Nirmanakaya, or the incarnated Nirmanakaya, or the created Nirmanakayas, and so on. So in brief, they all manifest in order to bring about the benefit and the happiness of sentient beings. The Nirmanakaya accomplishes the purpose of others and oneself simultaneously. Also, Jigten Sumgön said that everything that is done in the field of knowable things, which is this world, everything that's done is done by the Buddha. Meaning that whatever we do, whatever beings do, possesses an aspect of wisdom. And wisdom is the Buddha. So everything that's done is really a Buddha activity. And so some may then say that, well, if you say that everything is Buddha, then like the 5 elements are the Buddha, then how come that the 5 elements cause a lot of destruction, like water and earth cause a lot of destruction? People ask these kind of questions. And so yes, they do cause some destruction because that is karma ripening. Karma ripens in the minds of those who misunderstand or who have like a partial, a fractional understanding or a corrupt understanding. So whatever karma we create temporarily, a result will manifest in the form of suffering. But in the end, one's own Buddha nature will never become spoiled. The Buddha had said, all sentient beings are actually Buddhas. They are only obscured by adventitious stains. Once these stains are removed, they are actual Buddhas. This is actually a quote that Drikung Vajradhara Rinpoche had always mentioned also when he was sitting here on this very throne. So it is these obscurations, these fleeting obscurations that we need to purify. And how do we purify them? So these obscurations are our concept patterns in our mind that are extremely thick layers of habitual conceptual patterns in our mind. And they lead us to take birth in the lower realms. So we cleanse them as we would wash our clothes. When we want to wash our clothes, we need soap. And washing our clothes also requires some work, some difficulty. So similarly, we need to endure some difficulty in order to purify our mind. But meanwhile, Buddha nature always remains as it is, without birth and death. And whenever all obscurations are purified, one is an actual Buddha. And Buddha nature has never become spoiled in any way. So again, Jigten Sumgön said that within each of the 3 kayas, the other 2 kayas are complete. And then also we have said there is no need to have any doubts regarding the existence of Deva Chen. But we need to progress along the path according to our own level of realization from wherever we are at. So actually, one can also call this world a pure land of Deva Chen. So some people who take birth in this world experience suffering constantly. They experience the suffering of hunger and thirst, or birth, aging, sickness, and death, and so on. And all of this, again, arises from their karmas. So we say, may beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. Cause of happiness is bodhicitta. And may they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. The cause of suffering is self-grasping. Because we grasp at a self, we perceive a duality of self and other. And due to that, we develop afflictive emotions, we accumulate karma, and as a result, we will experience suffering. So that is what needs to be purified. Just like we are purifying water, dirty water, for example. Scientists actually are very skilled in purifying polluted water. So first the water goes into the ground, and then somehow it becomes refined or recycled, and it is used again. So in reality, the essence of that water has never really become polluted. And so similarly, Buddha nature can never really become defiled. But we need to practice from wherever level of realization we are at. Ultimately, we can also say that this human world is actually a pure land, a nirmana kaya pure land. Everything has the nature of the 3 kayas. But still, even though that is the case, we still experience much suffering in this world. And that is because of our various karmas of virtue and non-virtue. And we can see their fruition in a very direct way in this world. So if you really think about this, trust will arise within your mind. So in brief, there is no need to express any doubts with regard to the existence of Deva Chen. For example, here it is implied that Jigten Sumgön, boundless light, so that Jigten Sumgön is the Buddha Amitabha. So then one may think that, well, then it means that the Pure Land of Deva Chen is somehow related to the Drikung Kagyu lineage. But this is not the case. Whichever guru you are devoted to, you can see them as an emanation of the Buddha Amitabha. Because what they are is not their outer physical form, but their inner mind, that is the Dharmakaya. Their outer form is the Sangha, their speech is the Dharma, and their mind is the Buddha. And within the Dharmakaya mind of the Guru, there is no difference between whether one is a Sakya or Gelugpa or Nyingma and so on. They're all the same. It is just how we perceive it. It depends on how we perceive the Guru with our own mind. So as a follower of the Drikung Kagyu, we may see the Buddha Amitabha as Jigten Sumgön. Or if you're a Sakya follower, you see Amitabha as your own root guru, and so forth. So in essence, he is your own root guru, your kind root guru, and in appearance, the Buddha Amitabha. And you perceive, in whichever way the way things appear is how you perceive things. So the mind of the guru, on the other hand, will never change. It's unchanging. And since there is no difference between self and other. So now we need to understand, when we understand how the Pure Lands are created, and then how one can take birth in such a Pure Land, what stages of the path one needs to apply, that one can be born there, then there is no more doubt regarding the existence of Deva Chen. One can actually be born there. even those who still possess some dualistic grasping to self and other, and who possess some subtle afflictive emotions, they can actually take birth in the Pure Land of Devachan, because that was the Buddha Amitabha's aspiration. He said that he would not attain enlightenment unless such a Pure Land would be created. And then it is also said that once one is born in the Pure Land of Devachan, so it says here, may I be born among the foremost disciples, implying that once one is born in Devachan, one still continues to engage in practice. So one becomes liberated, but then one continues one's practice there in order to become completely enlightened. So one goes to Devachan, and in Devachan one purifies the remaining physical obscurations, and then one attains enlightenment in Devachan and accomplishes all enlightened activity and qualities of the three kayas in order to benefit sentient beings. So in brief, we need to understand how we can take birth in Devachan, or how the Pure Land is first created, then how we can take birth in the Pure Land. And then the method we embark on, the path we embark on, depends on our own level of realization. And so again, the Pure Land should be understood as a manifestation of one's own mind. And whatever level of the realization oneself has accomplished will determine one's own perception. But eventually, through practice, the Pure Lands will become manifest to one's mind.
주주라 랑게 잡be 지원들이 그런 마음을 지어 탐실해야 되지 대사들이 남는 거 보러 지지 마음을 지어 탐실 다들 주바 강나야 주바 내라 뛰니들이 마음을 지어 탐실을 근데 주바 내리들이 라는 모람 작게 요래 뒤 강이나 되니까 저는이 담배주가 주바 들어와서 단단하게 다도 이치성을 때 바로 뛰네 그러라게 라는 것이 자소성을 좀 다질래 좀 사가시 뭐요래 사마 다니니지 용다 오 나도니 고사자인데 지들은 그냥 내리 신고 좀 총유요래 제 요배 대리 다한테 바는 저래 신고 대리 강을 좀다 가리 연발하더니 제발요 말이야 여기서 그 손에 소디 잡아고 이제 띵바 쭉 주성 주봉제서 니멍니 보송소 대답이 도때를 사지 탐지가 쭉 봐야지 쭉 봐야 나는 들이 주바들이라고 주면봐 이 주바들 쪼거지네 들이 뭐람 잡고 요래 뭐람 들이 그냥 대대다 변들이라고 끼어는 다도 산지 뭐 잡서 손에 다도 뭐 상다지 봐대 그러는 게 됐다 모남도 똑시 받지 다다 양 가까이 오래 모남 대라더니 대다 고번 정부 때 말들이 모남 작게 오래지 내가 뭐 너무 지지스.
And then it says, in brief, in all my lifetimes, may I never be parted from the excellent teachings of the peerless Lord Drikung Baratna Shri. And so for this lifetime, may I never be separated from the Dharma lineage of the Drikung Kagyu. And then in future lifetimes, whatever lineage you have made your supplication towards, may I always be protected by this lineage. And so Jiten Sumgön also had said that a dharma that possesses a lineage is profound. And so mainly what we need when we follow a lineage is the three kinds of faith: the clear faith, the longing faith, and the trusting faith. And then one follows one's own lineage. And so one may think that they are all different. For example, I'm and then Nyingma and he's a Sakya and so on. But actually, we transform this perception of difference through the clear faith. So actually, ultimately, whatever lineage one follows, there is no difference between them. Lord Jigten Sumgen also had said that the teachings throughout the 10 directions are all one. And he said that the essence of the 84,000 different Dharma teachings is that they are all an antidote to the afflictive emotions. The words of all the Buddhas is one and the same. So there is no difference whatsoever really between the lineages. However, whichever lineage is maturing one's own mind stream, one considers this to be one's own principal lineage, and therefore makes aspiration prayers to not be separated from this lineage in all future lifetimes to come. So first we take refuge in the three jewels, and from the time we have taken refuge until we attain the state of enlightenment, we pray to not be separated from our lineage. And it is significant to make prayers, because when we make prayers, a special power is generated. So through the power of this aspiration here, for instance, we will never become separated from the teachings of the Drikung Kagyu.
대랑게 사지가 때만 누리에서 가야지 상기가 가야지 성도들은 당보 산조토도 섭지도 또 비슷한 사지 담지게 세비 쏘다거든 산축샘지 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 사지 때만 누리에 산축샘지로 상기에 걸려들 지비로에 저담 지나나 단디다 말고도 상조요래 이도 사족이 삼바다 이게 율 기타 철철들이 상철샘이라고 해야지. 그런데 철상샘들이 사족샘 처음 맞췄나 다디 파무장 대회는 이네들이 주봉제도 사제도 봐죠. 상제도 적고는 니디가 말 받아 상고래. 나도 상고래. 나도 상은 샘 권앙들이 얘네 사제리. sem이 얘네 사제라니. 대회는 남는 때마다 사제 때마다 사족sem을 해야지. 아주 저거 주나들이 대양들이 삼바다 이게 뜻을 타겠다. 삼지제 청청 선진 탐제 유라 요래 대사 요래들 타다 자기 유라 유송어데 우리는 습지 탐제에서 사바sem이 봐라. 이게 sem이 대 사제가 공부해야 돼. 이 사바지지 청청 소리 되소고 그래. 총총 탑재다고 자들이 라게 가서지는 뭐는 이때 사족세도 이때 제보서도는 들이 잡다들이 사제 때만 우리 때다 사족센들이 되는 senji 송플라워요래 도와지 바로 삼부세용은 니 사제티 바 저터 그러지 마 도니 도 버리 삼제 상지 저래지 도 들라들 가 삼제도 티 삼제도 사제 저래지 이따가 성모들은 남사지 싸움사지가 돼봤더니 삼바다 니제래 띵바 줬다면 저 동문에 되더라고 생냐 미지는 제시 봐요도 맞더라 대양들 그치 보여래 남사지가 되면 싸움사지가 되면 싸움사지가 되면 선대생이 뭔데 선지 탐색이 줄 요랑 남사지가 되면 삼바다 니제 줄 맞지라 살아 메토가 사고 요나야 차파마 밥나 사고도 가시면서 빼지다고 선지탄테 줄로 산제 용나요 삼바다 니제 줄로 맞지라 되는지 용디 민트고 요 말이지.
So regarding the Buddha's teachings, there is an outer, inner, and a secret aspect to it. The outer Buddha's teachings are referred to as the three wheels. It is the first the wheel of a meditative samadhi, and secondly the wheel of listening and reflection or learning, And then third, there's the wheel of activities. And then the inner Buddha's teachings. The Buddha himself actually said that first we must cultivate a supreme bodhicitta. And all the Buddhas after 3 times have first cultivated bodhicitta. That is their life force. And it is through bodhicitta that they have all attained enlightenment, that they became Buddhas. And so how do we become like that? The greater your altruism, the more self-grasping and ignorance become cleared away. And so this mind of love and compassion becomes the mind of bodhicitta. So this term bodhicitta in Tibetan is changchup sem. So changchup, so chang means to purify, and chup means to acquire, and sem is the mind. So the mind that purifies and acquires or masters. And actually, it should be the other way around, not chang chup sem, but chup sang sem, meaning that first you actually master, and through that acquiring of bodhicitta, of altruism, you purify then the self-grasping mind. So all the teachings of the Buddha, the 84,000 teachings, are in a method to attain enlightenment. So if we wish to attain enlightenment, we have to purify our dualistic perception, our ignorance, meaning that we need to purify our self-grasping in order to attain enlightenment. And so whoever cultivates bodhicitta actually possesses the inner Buddha's teachings within oneself. And actually every single sentient being possesses love and compassion, at least to some extent. For example, even like hawks or wolves, these kind of animals also possess love and compassion to some extent. And so naturally, when that is developed, it will result in the attainment of enlightenment. So all beings, in a way, therefore, are really nirmanakayas. They all possess this essence of Buddhahood, the potential to become Buddhas. And this little compassion, this slight love and compassion that they have, has to be accumulated more and more. So we have to hold on to the compassion that we have and make it grow stronger, and also dedicate our virtues accumulated with love. And then once we're able to develop love into great love, then we speak about the actual teachings of the Buddha, which is a mind of bodhicitta. So for example, companions or friends love each other. And that is, we can also call this love the inner Buddha's teachings. It is the love that we have in our mind stream for others. That is the Buddha's teachings. So if you have a friend and you feel, I love this friend, you can recognize this love as the inner Buddha's teachings within yourself. So there's the inner, and then there's the secret teachings of the Buddha. So in brief, the inner teachings of the Buddha is love and compassion. And one should never separate from love and compassion, and one never separates from the teachings. And then as one actually puts that into practice, mindfulness and awareness are extremely important, so that we never lose our love and compassion for others. So this is the inner teachings of the Buddha. The secret Buddha's teachings is the Buddha nature that all sentient beings possess. But even though they possess that, if they do not develop the inner teachings of the Buddha, if they do not develop love and compassion, then they are just like the seed of a flower that does not encounter rain. So it cannot open up and sprout. And so even though we possess Buddha nature, if we do not cultivate love and compassion, then a Buddha's qualities cannot arise within us.
rinchi kariki liridi Research Sanjay Tamsi Tango Sanchok Cho the Tokti, Pata Sami, Chosa, the Sanjay, the Salt, Kali Janadini, part of the support, Togo, part of the city, give me part of the Tisabga part of the part of the sea. That data, Kali Mambo Janadini, Sanchok said the Sai, or it is that the Sanchok said the remote city. From Tar, Drikung Chiba, the Sir Gam Mengi, or Kadam to Sasso Mengti, Deletin, Rinchi, Rinchi 강련 다 설은 런티 르보치 지와 도고리 르보치 가야 다 사족스로 고고리지 사족스도 다 지와로 고고리 지와들은 도다 보통 정말 강 지와 치오는 뒤에 문제는 제일 소확할지도 뒤에 따오지 다시 심지 삼세로 다시 체배 받아 오고리 다다 충충마디 비나 그래서 로드 리메도 와서 니만한 요고리 다 때리들이 the Lord remembered with the whole holding with Zingona, the very telita, Rinchi, she was the Satuk Poko, and she Kaliona, Rabachel Chilokita, Sajeta Kaleja Patele, Tobiore, some Kang something in the Chatelle, Satuk with Japton was so much Saji, so much. That was Toki, Pardon Molantin, the Rimboche, the Sanchoksuna, Sanchoks and Rimboche, that's the main.
So here is this term, Lord Drikung Ba Ratna Shri. So we actually need to separate these two words, so Drikung Ba and Ratna Shri. So Drikung Ba means, that is the name of our lineage, the Drikung Kagyu lineage. And Drikung is the name of a place where this lineage emerged. So it is therefore called the Drikung Kagyu lineage. But then Ratna Shri, so in Tibetan, Ratna means Rinchen, and Rinchen means precious. And that is, although Ratna Shri here applies is a name, actually this name for a person is applied in all the different lineages as well. All the different lineages refer to their masters as a precious one, a Rinchen, and who possess the inner and the secret Buddha's teachings. And all the Buddhas after 3 times, in the beginning, first gave rise to Bodhichitta. In the middle, they accumulated merit throughout 3 endless aeons. So they exerted a great effort in developing their love and their compassion through practicing the 6 paramitas, such as patience and ethical discipline and so forth. So they engaged in these practices, making a great effort. So they endured many hardships in order to develop their love and compassion. So we call this, they have accumulated their bodhicitta. And bodhicitta is what we call precious, or Rinchen or Rinpoche. And the Drikung is a name of a place, and the Drikung Kagyu lineage has received its name through this place as the lineage emerged in that place. And Rinchen, or the precious one, is not just a name given to Jigten Somgön, but actually occurs in all the different lineages. They all have a precious one. And that precious one should be understood to be the mind of bodhicitta. And bodhicitta should be understood to be a mind of love. And it begins with the love that you have, for instance, for your friends, for your children, for your wife, and so forth. There's this feeling of love that arises in you. But this love has to become immeasurable love for all sentient beings. Now it is a limited, a small love. For example, it is like a small lamp flame, like a fire flame. But first we need to recognize the luminosity coming from this fire flame, even though this lamp is very small. Eventually, this lamp must become vast like the sun, but it's still the same light that we need to first identify. So that's the precious one. It is the mind of love, or bodhicitta. And all the Buddhas of the past have endured many hardships in order to obtain it. in our aspiration prayer of the fivefold path of Mahamudra, in the beginning it speaks about the precious ocean-like treasure of love and compassion. And that is the ocean of Bodhicitta. And who has created this ocean? It is all the Buddhas. First, it is through their own great compassion, and secondly, it is through their aspiration prayers. So what we call the precious one, again, should be understood to be the mind of Bodhicitta.
Golda da lochibo. Ni da. Kashire baksa yore bo chudini ni ta so. Ngarani de huma de rongina ma kani. Kudama bo chang jiao ta de. Gaji sen chen kura ma wo xiang je. This book something that Lord do. They Chang Lama said, Deed, get the gold. Gala Mashig, Nagaram did Gomjaki, not a Gomjaki, then this worry. This table talk and hako, my day. Lake of a theatre of the Drikung Jogging, who long to talk theatre and you go. The theatre Tamak get ya. Oh, that coach Drikung got you. Took the inside it, that's it, I'll be already.
Rinpoche says, I apologize. I had to go to the restroom because I'm older already. And so anyways, I'm coming back to this, not the lineage, the connection that we have. So some also have this karmic imprint that they bring with them. And so myself, for example, when I was very young, when I was about 7 years old, so I was brought into this a shrine room that was filled with like different statues, and so there was various different statues in the shrine room arranged, and I was asked then, now which one is your Lama? And actually all I really understood was basically the words, but I didn't know anything else, any significance behind that. And I just pointed my finger at a statue of a guru with a meditation hat on, and that was Lord Chigden Sumgön. But not because I had a special feeling or anything, I just naturally pointed at it. And that is due to the force of karma, and also the force of aspiration, of being connected to the Drikung Kagyu lineage. And so that is, when I did that, when I pointed my finger towards Chigden Sumgön, then, because there were many different other lineages represented, then they would say that, oh, he must be a Drikung Kagyu Tulku. And so then they announced this and so on, but probably this also, it comes from the previous aspirations that we make. And then it says, may I be accepted by gurus, and may I strive with devotion for the purpose of others and myself. So in brief, once we have become followers of the three jewels, we must cultivate bodhicitta. And bodhicitta accomplishes the purpose of others and oneself simultaneously. So first, we say, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. So first, in order, Bodhicitta benefits ourselves because we purify our own self-grasping. And then, for example, between two friends, if they really love each other, they are able to stay together for the rest of their lives. Or even birds, when they love each other, they are able to stay together all their lives. So bodhicitta is your own benefit and the happiness of others. This purpose here of others and myself arises from the quality of bodhicitta. So we are praying for that, and that there will be no obstacles to this in our lifetimes. And then it says, by the compassionate blessings of the three jewels and the victorious ones. That is the referring to the Buddha's teachings we had just mentioned. All the Buddhas of the three times and the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. So may, by the compassionate blessings and through the yearning with intense devotion, so may I enter these teachings and in future times always receive their blessings. And so in the future times we pray, may the Buddha's teachings always remain in this world, like the sun shining in the world, and may those Buddhas continue to manifest for the sake of all sentient beings in the 6 realms of samsara and accomplish their benefit without any effort. So that is the blessing here, so the compassionate blessing. And so if we understand that this blessing is present, if we understand the nature of this blessing, then we will develop devotion. So therefore, through my yearning with intense devotion. This term devotion consists in Tibetan of 2 words. It is mö, gu, so it's mö and gu. And mö means to aspire, and gu means to respect. So to aspire, for example, as it is said in the prayer for excellent conduct, the King of Aspiration prayers, we aspire to follow this path. And if we wish to follow this path, we need to respect the activities of the bodhisattvas, so mö and gu, and then apply ourselves day and night in the bodhisattva's conduct. So through such a devotion, then all one's wishes will be accomplished. So in the end it says, may our wishes be fulfilled according to this aspiration. Just like when supplicating a wish-fulfilling jewel. If one doesn't supplicate a wish-fulfilling jewel, then one's wishes will not be accomplished. One also must supplicate the wish-fulfilling jewel. And so that leads to what we call the 3 powers, whereby all of our wishes are accomplished. So the first power is called the power of your own intention. Your own intention, your own mind is the power of love for all beings. Your wish to benefit all sentient beings. The second power is the power of all the Buddha's great compassion. So that is all the Buddhas of the 3 times, combining their compassion and their aspirations into one. So we are merging our own aspiration of love with the great love of all the Buddhas. And that is similar, for example, to put all the money in the world in one bank. So imagine if everyone would put all their money in one bank account. How much money would it be? So similarly, we are merging our own love with the great love of all the Buddhas. And it is really through the power of the aspiration of all the Buddhas of the 3 times that the Buddha's teachings still remain, and no one was able to destroy the Buddha's teachings. That is due to the power of aspiration. Then the third power is the power of the Dharma Dhatu, and that is the Buddha nature inherent within all sentient beings. That is unchanging. So it is through these 3 powers, and then the compassionate blessings of the 3 jewels, and all the Buddhas, that our wishes are accomplished. So the essence of all the Buddhas, again, are related to the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. So these are connected to the 3 powers, the power of our own intention, the powers of all the Buddha's compassion, and the power of the Dharma Dhatu. And so ultimately, and by the power of the phenomena's natural state, so that is, and also by the power of the ultimate truth, may our wishes be fulfilled according to this aspiration. So this completes the commentary on the Lama Chöpa aspiration prayer. And in our next session, and for the sake of this world, we shall engage in a Tara practice followed by a Dzambhala practice.
Everybody song ka thank you. Tani kapaji shamin so jang to ji.
Please take a rest for 30 minutes.
Oh
Recording stopped.